we're all fighting the infidel, you, and when he says we, he means the women and children as well. If they happen to get killed, they're martyrs and they're going to heaven. So I'm doing them a favor in many ways. That's the mentality that we're fighting against. That's the mentality that puts a bomb in their shorts and flies to Detroit to try to blow a plane up over our city. Puts a bomb in a car in New York City and tries to blow that town up as well. Without regard to women and children, without regard to anything. It's a completely antithetical mindset to what you and I are used to. It's not Western. And President Obama talks quite often about unclenching a fist and we'll shake your hand. They have no interest in unclenching their fist. We have to meet them and we have to kill them because they're going to try to kill us until the war's won. And sometimes that war's going to go on for a long time. I'm very proud of the fact that the war in Iraq is pretty much over. We're bringing our troops home this summer, and pretty soon everybody will be out of Iraq, and that's a good thing. Whether you agree with why we got into Iraq or not, the fact that we have a sort of friendly government that's sort of democratic, that's a good thing to have in the heart of the Middle East. Got back from Iraq, and, my wife and I had our first child, my prior exchange, and Mount Soldat Cross, a war memorial, brought me to Michigan. It's a very similar issue to the Mojave Cross case. I'm sure some of you are familiar with it. The Supreme Court just said that cross could stay there. It's a World War I memorial, but some vandals just stole it. Which is so sad because we have so few World War I memorials. This is one of the few that we have. And it's been boxed up for years because the ACLU said it's offensive sitting out in the middle of the Mojave Desert. You literally have to drive hours out to it to see it. It's so remote, but that's some of the issues that we have to deal with. The cross I was dealing with was a war memorial that sat in La Jolla since 1913. And the ACLU and one federal judge said, tear it down. Thomas More Law Center stepped in and saved the cross, and I said, well, that's the kind of work I want to do. So I sent a resume to Thomas More Law Center, which is in Ann Arbor. There are some conservative things in Ann Arbor. And Tom Monahan started the Thomas More Law Center along with Dick Thompson, who was the former Oakland County prosecutor. He's the guy that helped put away Dr. Jack DeBorkley. I worked at Thomas More Law Center for almost 3.5 years. I did right to life issues, freedom of speech issues, a lot of First Amendment issues, national defense issues. The biggest case I fought at the Thomas More Law Center was the exoneration of Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Chisani. He, along with 8 other Marines, were thrown under the bus by Congressman Jack Murtha back in 2006 when the Iraqi war was at its nadir. Jack Murtha got in front of everybody and said these Marines killed Iraqis in Hadith, Iraq in 2005 in cold blood. I knew it was bogus, and we got involved in the case, and we were able to get Lieutenant Colonel Chisani after 3.5 years. The guy who served 22 years honorably, Panama, Persian Gulf, 3 tours in Iraq. We were able to get him exonerated. He was able to retire honorably. All the other 8 Marines have been either exonerated or had acquitted or had the charges dropped against them. One guy's still sitting in a discovery limbo after 4.5 years. So it reminds me a lot, and I'm sorry I'm taking a little bit more time, it reminds me a lot of the Navy SEALs that were just exonerated, 3 of them. And they were, I'm sure some of you know about this, but they were charged because the guy in the Second Battle of Fallujah who murdered 4 American contractors, 2 of them were former Navy SEALs, burned them, dragged them through the streets, and hung from the bridge in Fallujah, was captured by these 3 Navy SEALs. These 3 Navy SEAls interrogated him, put him away. He claimed, the Al-Qaeda guy, who admitted to murdering these 4 Americans, claimed that he was punched by one of the Navy SEAls. We ended up court-martialing these 3 Navy SEAls. All 3 of them have been acquitted. They had to spend a year of their life. Their parents probably haven't mortgaged their homes because they get civilian attorneys. All to clear their good name based off the words of one Al-Qaeda murderous SOB. That kind of stuff should never happen under our armed services. As a veteran, as someone that understands the rules of engagement and what you have to do in Iraq and Afghanistan, we should never take the word of a murderous Al-Qaeda operative over our Navy SEALs, some of our best and brightest. I decided after 3.5 years, well actually I didn't decide anything, it was decided for me. Dick was thinking of sending me down to Florida, and we were thinking about it because my wife's parents live down there, my parents are snowbirds. But my 3rd child was diagnosed with a congenital heart defect. And we were told, we had 3 choices. You could either terminate his life, try to save his life at U of M, or have hospice care, and we decided to try to save his life.